Flames of the Forbidden. Chapter 1. Whispers in the Dark. The moon hung low, painting the forest in shades of silver and shadow. Deep within the tangled woods, in a secluded clearing hidden from mortal eyes, stood a solitary figure, Seraphine, the last witch of Eldara. Her midnight black cloak swayed gently in the whispering wind as emerald flames danced upon her fingertips, illuminating her striking features. Seraphine's eyes, fierce and golden like amber lit from within, stared intently into the shadows. She whispered ancient words, her voice rich and melodic, commanding unseen forces to bend to her will. Suddenly, the ground trembled beneath her feet. The emerald flames flickered and died, plunging the clearing into eerie darkness. A massive shadow passed overhead, blocking the stars and stealing Seraphine's breath. She gazed upward, her heart racing. Above her soared a dragon, scales glistening obsidian beneath the moonlight, wings spanning wide enough to eclipse the sky. He spiraled downward gracefully, landing before her with a powerful gust of wind, his sapphire blue eyes locking onto hers with unsettling intensity. "You summoned me, witch," the dragon's deep, resonant voice rumbled through her bones. "Few dare." Seraphine steadied herself, feeling inexplicably drawn to the magnificent, dangerous creature. "I've summoned you because fate itself demands it. The darkness grows, and Eldara cannot survive without your strength." The dragon tilted his head, a hint of amusement softening his fierce gaze. "You think to command me?" "Not command," Seraphine replied carefully. "I seek an alliance." He took a slow step closer, lowering his massive head until they were mere inches apart, his warm breath cascading over her skin. "And what do you offer in return for such a bond, witch?" She hesitated for a heartbeat, sensing the weight of destiny pressing upon them both. "My magic, my protection, and if fate wills it, my heart." A flicker of surprise crossed the dragon's eyes, quickly replaced by something deeper, darker, infinitely more dangerous. "Careful," he warned softly. "Love between our kinds is forbidden for good reason." "Then perhaps," Seraphine whispered defiantly, "we are both destined to defy reason." Above them, hidden eyes watched from the shadows, and whispers of betrayal and doom echoed softly in the dark. Chapter 2. Bonds of Fire and Shadow. Dawn arrived with tentative fingers of pale gold stretching across the sky, slowly pushing back the cloak of night. Seraphine awoke in her modest cottage, hidden deep in the heart of the forest, the dragon's words echoing endlessly in her mind. The lingering warmth of his breath upon her skin felt vivid, a memory she couldn't quite escape. As she stepped outside, she found herself drawn toward the northern hills where she knew he dwelled. Something about their meeting had ignited a spark within her, an unexplainable longing to know more about this powerful, forbidden creature. The forest around her whispered secrets as she journeyed deeper into its embrace, shadows flickering in the morning light as if to dissuade her path. Yet her determination never wavered. Soon, she reached the rocky cliffs overlooking the Dragon's Hollow, a sprawling valley nestled within mountains that touched the sky. Below, she saw him. The dragon was sprawled elegantly upon a plateau, his scales shimmering like polished onyx beneath the morning sun. Even from this distance, she could sense the immense power that radiated from his being. As if aware of her gaze, the dragon lifted his head, his sapphire eyes immediately finding her on the cliff above. "You have come," his voice resonated clearly, reaching her even from this distance, filled with restrained curiosity and amusement. Seraphine descended carefully, heart pounding, yet she kept her expression composed. "Our world is fragile. The balance we once held between creatures and humans is fading. Eldara needs us both." The dragon regarded her solemnly. "My name is Draven," he said after a thoughtful pause. "Names hold power, witch. Remember mine carefully." "I am Seraphine," she responded firmly, matching his intensity. "And I remember everything." Draven's eyes narrowed slightly, intrigued. "There are consequences to the path you choose. The elders forbade our union centuries ago. Our ancestors' pact declared that no dragon and witch may form a bond. Yet here we stand," Seraphine replied defiantly. "Together." "Indeed," Draven murmured softly. He extended one massive clawed hand toward her, the gesture strangely gentle despite its intimidating appearance. Seraphine reached out, her slender hand dwarfed by his powerful grasp. As their skin touched, a shock of energy surged between them, a force that resonated through their souls. A brilliant glow encased them both, weaving an intricate pattern of light and shadow that merged their destinies irrevocably. As the glow faded, Draven gazed at her, eyes filled with both admiration and wariness. "Our fates are now intertwined, Seraphine. But be wary, our bond will attract dangers greater than any you've faced." Seraphine met his gaze unflinchingly. "Together, we will face whatever darkness arises." Draven's expression softened subtly. "Then let us begin." They moved deeper into the dragon's hollow, unaware of the shadowy figure hidden among the trees above, eyes glittering with malice, watching as their forbidden bond formed, ready to shatter their newfound unity and plunge Eldara into eternal darkness. Chapter 3: Veil of Deception. Days passed, marked by a deepening bond between Seraphine and Draven as they trained tirelessly within the dragon's hollow. The intertwining of their magic had grown more potent, their connection more profound. Yet, beneath the surface of their newfound alliance, tension lingered, a subtle awareness of the risks they had undertaken by defying ancient laws. Late one evening, while stars glittered like diamonds against the velvet sky, Seraphine sat at the edge of a moonlit pool, her fingertips tracing patterns on the water's serene surface. Draven lounged nearby, his great form curled elegantly around the clearing, eyes half closed, reflecting the silver moonlight. "Tell me," Seraphine began softly, breaking their comfortable silence, "why was our bond forbidden? Why such fear of unity between our kind?" Draven's eyes opened fully, sapphire depths filled with melancholy. "Long ago, there was another witch and another dragon. Their bond was as powerful as ours promises to be, but it brought ruin to Eldara. Their unity threatened the delicate balance of magic. They were betrayed by those closest to them, their power sealed away, their memories erased, leaving only warnings in ancient scrolls and whispered cautionary tales." Seraphine turned toward him fully, her eyes luminous in the moonlight. "And you believe history will repeat itself?" "No," Draven said firmly. "I believe we must rewrite it." Just as his words settled in the still air, a rustle disturbed the foliage around them. Draven rose swiftly, scales bristling with instinctual awareness. Seraphine stood, emerald flames igniting at her fingertips, ready for danger. A cloaked figure stepped from the shadows, hands raised in surrender. The intruder lowered their hood, revealing an elderly woman whose eyes shone with unsettling wisdom. "Elder Mora," Seraphine gasped, recognizing the woman as the oldest and wisest of her coven. "Why are you here?" Mora approached cautiously, her gaze flitting warily to Draven before returning to Seraphine. "I have come with a warning. Eldara is teetering on the brink of war. Your actions, your bond, have set in motion forces darker than you realize." "What forces?" Seraphine demanded, her tone edged with fear. Mora's expression was grave. "There is a faction within the coven that sees your bond as a threat, one that must be extinguished. They will stop at nothing to sever your connection and prevent history from repeating itself." "Who leads them?" Draven growled, stepping forward protectively. "Your former mentor, Seraphine," Mora whispered painfully. "Alaric." The name struck Seraphine like a physical blow. Alaric had been her teacher, confidant, and surrogate father. The thought of his betrayal made her knees buckle, but Draven moved swiftly to support her. "Why would he betray me?" Seraphine asked, voice trembling. "Fear," Mora said simply. "Fear of the past, fear of the prophecy. Alaric believes your bond will bring destruction, just as it did in ages past." Draven's voice was deep with resolve. "Then we must face him before he destroys us." "It won't be that simple," Mora cautioned. "Alaric has allies, powerful ones, and they have already begun their plans. Eldara is divided, and the conflict brewing threatens more than just the two of you." Seraphine straightened, drawing strength from Draven's solid presence at her side. "We cannot hide in the shadows. If Alaric means to confront us, let him come. Our unity is our strength. Mora nodded slowly, sadness filling her eyes. Be careful, child. Trust is scarce, and betrayal lurks around every corner. With those words, Mora retreated into the shadows, leaving a heavy silence behind. Seraphine turned to Draven, her expression determined yet vulnerable. We must be ready, she whispered. Draven's eyes glowed fiercely, unwavering in his resolve. We will face this storm together. No matter the cost. In the dark distance, unseen by both, Alaric stood silently, his eyes filled with pain and determination. Beside him, shadowy figures moved, whispering promises of power and dominance. The stage was set for betrayal and conflict, and the veil of deception had already begun to descend over Eldara. Chapter 4: The Shadows of Betrayal. Seraphine and Draven spent the days following Elder Mora's ominous warning in vigilant preparation. They trained ceaselessly, their magic melding seamlessly as their bond strengthened with each passing moment. The shadow of Alaric's betrayal, however, cast a heavy cloud over their hearts, an ever-present reminder that their unity had consequences. One crisp evening, as twilight painted the horizon in shades of violet and gold, Seraphine felt compelled to visit her home, a modest cottage hidden deep within Eldara's dense forests. She longed for familiarity, seeking comfort among her precious herbs, ancient tomes, and the artifacts imbued with ancestral magic. Draven agreed reluctantly, sensing danger in leaving the safety of the Dragon's Hollow. He soared silently above, his shadow passing like a fleeting storm cloud, guarding her journey with watchful eyes. As Seraphine approached her cottage, dread gripped her heart. The usually inviting warmth of home was replaced by a stark, eerie silence. When she emerged from the tree line, her worst fears were realized. Her cottage lay in ruins, walls blackened by fire, embers still glowing faintly in the settling darkness. Alaric, she whispered, voice choked with sorrow and anger. Draven landed beside her, his massive wings folding protectively around her trembling form. He means to break your spirit, he growled softly. He wants you to doubt your path. Determined not to succumb to despair, Seraphine sifted through the charred remains. Her fingers brushed against a scorched parchment bearing Alaric's unmistakable seal. With shaking hands, she unfolded it, reading the cruel message inscribed in her mentor's elegant script. Surrender yourself, Seraphine, or watch everything you cherish burn to ashes. Rage surged through her veins, replacing sorrow with fiery resolve. He seeks to intimidate me, she declared fiercely. But I will not bow. Before Draven could reply, the forest erupted around them in violent bursts of dark magic. Figures cloaked in shadow emerged, their presence radiating hostility. At their forefront stood Alaric, his face etched with grim determination and painful resolve. Your stubbornness leaves me no choice, Alaric proclaimed, his voice laced with sorrow and authority. You must abandon this reckless bond. Eldara will suffer if you persist. Seraphine stood tall, her amber eyes blazing defiantly. Emerald flames crackled to life at her fingertips, casting eerie shadows upon her mentor's face. Eldara's true suffering will come from your fear, Alaric. Do you not see the darkness you've allied with? His expression hardened further, eyes clouded by grief and desperation. I do this for the survival of our people. You cannot see beyond your own desires. Draven roared mightily, shaking the very earth beneath them. It is you who is blinded by fear, old man. Your misguided actions will doom us all. Without further warning, Alaric unleashed a powerful spell, dark tendrils of energy surging forward. Seraphine countered swiftly, her emerald flames creating a barrier of magical protection. The air crackled and vibrated with intensity, the forces of dark and light clashing violently. As the magical battle intensified, Draven lunged forward, engaging Alaric's shadowy allies. His claws tore through darkness, his flames ignited with primal fury. Seraphine, meanwhile, matched her mentor blow for blow, each strike a painful reminder of the bond they once shared. You taught me compassion, courage, and wisdom, Seraphine cried out as their magic collided fiercely. Why abandon everything you once stood for? I act to prevent ruin, Alaric retorted harshly. History demands sacrifice. The battle raged, neither side yielding ground. Trees splintered and earth cracked beneath their furious power. Amidst the chaos, Seraphine saw the torment behind Alaric's eyes, a reflection of her own pain. With a final surge, Seraphine unleashed her strongest spell, a vortex of emerald light erupting from her very core. Alaric staggered backward, his defenses collapsing under the immense force. He fell to his knees, defeated yet defiant. "Finish it," he gasped, eyes filled with resignation. Seraphine lowered her hand slowly, emerald flames dissipating into gentle sparks. "I will not kill you, Alaric. But your fear will no longer control me." Draven returned to her side, vigilant yet understanding. Alaric's allies had retreated, vanishing into the darkness that birthed them. The old mentor struggled to his feet, regarding Seraphine with a mixture of regret and newfound respect. "You will regret your mercy," Alaric warned quietly, stepping into the shadows. "This battle has only just begun." Left alone in the ruin and silence, Seraphine turned to Draven, weariness etched upon her face. Yet determination burned brightly in her eyes. "We must be stronger than ever," she murmured, leaning against his reassuring presence. Draven wrapped a wing protectively around her, gazing solemnly into the darkness. "Together, we will overcome whatever comes next." Chapter 5: Echoes of Destiny. In the aftermath of the fierce confrontation with Alaric, the forest seemed unnaturally still, as if holding its breath in the wake of their devastating clash. Seraphine, exhausted but resolute, leaned into Draven's comforting presence, drawing strength from his unwavering support. "We must leave this place," Draven urged gently, sensing danger still lingering within the darkness. Seraphine nodded wearily, her gaze lingering on the smoldering ruins of her cottage. "There's nothing left for me here now." Together, they journeyed deeper into the heart of Eldara, toward ancient lands known only through legends and whispered tales. Their destination was the Sanctuary of Elders, a sacred place hidden beyond mortal knowledge, accessible only to those who carried the purest intentions and deepest truths. Days stretched into nights as they traveled through dense forests, across sweeping plains, and over jagged mountains. Each step of their journey brought new trials and revelations, deepening their bond and solidifying their trust. One evening, beneath the silver gaze of a full moon, Seraphine and Draven rested beside a crystal-clear lake. The serene waters mirrored the stars, creating an otherworldly atmosphere of calm reflection. As they sat, Draven gazed thoughtfully into the distance, his sapphire eyes filled with an unspoken burden. "Tell me what's troubling you," Seraphine prompted gently, sensing his turmoil. Draven hesitated briefly before speaking. "There is a truth I have yet to share. My lineage carries a heavy burden, one intertwined with the very fabric of Eldara's destiny. My ancestors guarded a sacred power, a force capable of creating or destroying worlds." Seraphine listened intently, her eyes wide with awe and concern. "Why keep this hidden?" "It was forbidden knowledge," Draven admitted quietly. "Known only to dragons and the oldest elders. Yet, with our bond formed, I sense this knowledge is yours to bear as well." "Then share it with me," she urged softly. Draven nodded slowly, eyes closing briefly as he spoke. "This sacred power lies hidden within the Sanctuary of Elders. To protect it from misuse, the ancients concealed it behind powerful enchantments. Only a union of pure intent and true love can unlock its secrets. But there is also a prophecy, a warning of cataclysm if the power falls into the wrong hands." Seraphine absorbed his words carefully, feeling the weight of responsibility settle upon her shoulders. "Alaric fears this prophecy?" "Yes," Draven confirmed gravely. "He believes our bond fulfills the prophecy, bringing inevitable destruction. He cannot see the potential for renewal and peace, only the shadows of the past." Determination hardened Seraphine's features. "Then we must prove him wrong. We must show Eldara that our bond can lead to healing, not destruction." Draven gazed deeply into her eyes, admiration and warmth radiating from his gaze. "Together, we will find the sanctuary and safeguard the power." Their quiet resolve was abruptly shattered by a sudden rustling nearby. Both sprang to their feet, instincts honed by danger immediately alert. From the shadows emerged a familiar figure, Eldara, her expression grave and urgent. "You must hurry," Mora urged, breathless from her haste. "Alaric has discovered your path. He gathers his forces, intent on stopping you before you reach the sanctuary." Seraphine's jaw tightened defiantly. "We will not be deterred." Mora nodded approvingly, though worry clouded her eyes. "Then move swiftly. Time is no ally to you now." With Mora's warning echoing in their minds, Seraphine and Draven set forth with renewed urgency, determined to reach the sanctuary and fulfill their shared destiny, whatever it might hold. Yet, unknown to them, darker forces stirred beyond the borders of Eldara, sensing the convergence of power. A sinister presence, ancient and malevolent, began to awaken, drawn by the echoes of a destiny yet unfulfilled. Chapter 6: Sanctuary of Secrets. With Eldamora's dire warning ringing in their ears, Seraphine and Draven pressed onward with renewed urgency. They journeyed tirelessly, through dense forests cloaked in shadow and across mountains that pierced the clouds. Their path grew increasingly treacherous, testing their resolve and endurance. On the 7th day, they arrived at the edge of a vast, ancient valley cloaked in mist. Seraphine felt a strange power emanating from within, resonating with a quiet hum beneath her skin. Draven sensed it too, his scales shimmering with anticipation. "This is it," he whispered, his voice filled with reverence. "The Sanctuary of Elders." They carefully descended into the valley, guided by an ethereal glow that seemed to dance ahead of them, illuminating their way. As they reached the valley floor, the mists parted to reveal the entrance, a grand, arching gateway carved from stone and adorned with intricate symbols that pulsed faintly with magical energy. Seraphine approached the gateway slowly, her heart pounding in rhythm with the ancient magic surrounding them. She extended her hand, fingers brushing gently against the cool stone. Instantly, the symbols flared brightly, bathing them both in radiant light. A voice echoed softly, ethereal and ageless. "Only those bound by true unity may enter. Prove your bond and unlock the sanctuary." Seraphine turned to Draven, meeting his gaze. Without words, they clasped hands, their magic intertwining naturally, flowing between them with an effortless harmony. Emerald flames merged with sapphire fire, creating a breathtaking display of brilliant colors that wove around them in an intricate pattern of unity and strength. The gateway trembled gently before opening with a resonant sigh, allowing them passage. Inside lay a magnificent chamber bathed in soft, golden light, walls inscribed with ancient scripts and symbols from a forgotten age. At the chamber's center rested an altar, upon which floated an orb of pure, radiant energy. "The sacred power," Draven murmured reverently, stepping closer to the altar. Seraphine followed, awe-stricken by the palpable energy radiating from the orb. As they drew near, vision surged forth from the orb, filling their minds with glimpses of the past, a witch and dragon united, their bond celebrated and feared. They watched helplessly as betrayal tore the pair apart, unleashing devastation upon Eldara, leaving scars that had never fully healed. Seraphine gasped softly, tears brimming in her eyes. "This is what Alaric fears." "Yes," Draven replied gravely. "But our choices will define our fate. We need not repeat the mistakes of the past." Before they could speak further, a chilling presence filled the chamber, shadows seeping in through unseen cracks, coalescing into a dark figure. Alaric stepped forward, his eyes cold with determination, flanked by shadowy beings exuding malevolence. "You cannot control this power," Alaric warned sharply, his voice echoing within the sacred space. "Step away from the orb." Seraphine moved protectively between Alaric and the orb, emerald flames igniting fiercely around her. "You would rather let fear rule than embrace hope." Alaric's expression softened momentarily, conflict flickering across his features. "I cannot allow history to repeat itself. Eldara's fate is more important than your happiness." Draven stepped forward, his voice resonating with strength and conviction. "Eldara's fate depends on unity, not division. Trust in us, Alaric." For a moment, uncertainty wavered in Alaric's eyes before being swiftly replaced by resolve. He raised his hand, commanding his shadowy companions to attack. A fierce battle erupted within the sanctuary, magic colliding explosively. Seraphine and Draven fought in perfect harmony, their bond empowering their every move, yet the shadows continued their relentless assault, threatening to overwhelm them. Desperation surged within Seraphine as she reached toward the orb, her fingers grazing its glowing surface. Power flooded through her, pure and overwhelming. Channeling the orb's energy, she unleashed a blinding wave of magic, banishing the shadows and throwing Alaric backward. Panting, Alaric gazed up from where he fell, stunned but alive. You controlled it." Seraphine met his astonished gaze, her voice steady. "Our bond is not your enemy, Alaric. It is Eldara's hope." Alaric stared at them both, finally comprehending the truth in their words. "Perhaps," he conceded quietly. "But darker forces now stir, forces awakened by your union. You must prepare for what comes next." Draven nodded solemnly, placing a comforting wing around Seraphine. "We will face it together." With renewed unity and resolve, they stood within the sanctuary, ready to face the looming darkness and fulfill their shared destiny. Chapter 7: Awakening Darkness. After their battle within the sanctuary of elders, Seraphine and Draven remained vigilant, aware that their true challenges lay ahead. Alaric's reluctant warning had lingered heavily in their minds, heightening their determination to protect Eldara at all costs. Days turned into weeks as they worked tirelessly to fortify the sanctuary, drawing upon its ancient magic to strengthen their bond and defenses. They also studied extensively, deciphering cryptic texts etched onto the sanctuary's walls, desperate to uncover any clue that might aid them in their impending struggle. One evening, beneath a sky painted crimson and gold by the setting sun, Draven paced restlessly at the sanctuary's entrance. His senses were heightened, detecting something sinister on the horizon, something powerful stirring in the darkness. "Something is coming," Draven warned, his voice deep and troubled. Seraphine joined him, eyes narrowed as she scanned the horizon. "I feel it too. A darkness older and more dangerous than anything we have faced." Before long, their fears manifested vividly. A dark, oppressive shadow spread swiftly across the sky, extinguishing the stars as it advanced. The earth trembled beneath their feet as a horde of shadowy beings emerged, moving silently yet relentlessly toward the sanctuary. Leading this ominous force was a towering figure, shrouded in darkness but radiating a terrifying aura of ancient power. His voice, chillingly smooth and menacing, echoed through the valley. "At last, I have awakened," the figure announced, his presence suffocating. "The unity of dragon and witch was always destined to rouse me from my slumber." Seraphine stepped forward boldly, her emerald flames flaring defiantly. "Who are you, and what do you want?" "I am Malakar, the Forgotten One," he replied, stepping closer, shadows coiling around him like serpents. "Your bond has broken the ancient seals that imprisoned me. Now, Eldara will fall under my dominion." Draven roared fiercely, flames erupting from his maw in defiance. "We will never allow that to happen." Malakar's laughter echoed darkly, a sound devoid of warmth or humanity. "Brave words, dragon. But bravery alone cannot protect you from destiny." With a wave of his hand, Malakar commanded his shadow army forward. They surged toward the sanctuary in a relentless tide of darkness. Seraphine and Draven stood united, their magic interwoven seamlessly, fighting fiercely to repel the assault. Hours of relentless combat passed, yet Malakar's forces seemed endless. Exhaustion began to claw at them, their energy waning despite their determination. As hope began to falter, an unexpected light pierced the darkness. From the edge of the valley emerged Alaric, accompanied by Elder Mora and warriors from both Witch Covens and Dragon clans, all standing shoulder to shoulder, ready to defend Eldara. "Together we stand!" Alaric shouted, his voice strong and unwavering. "For Eldara!" Renewed by the presence and unity of former foes now turned allies, Seraphine and Draven rallied. Their combined magic flared brighter than ever, pushing back Malakar's army and weakening his hold on the darkness. Enraged, Malakar stepped forward personally, unleashing a devastating wave of dark energy aimed directly at Seraphine. Draven shielded her instantly, absorbing the brunt of the attack. Pain surged through him, but his resolve remained unbroken. With a surge of fierce determination and deep love, Seraphine drew upon the sanctuary's ancient magic, channeling it through their bond. A powerful blast of unified energy struck Malakar, forcing him back and dispersing his shadow army. As the battlefield fell silent, Malakar retreated, his voice lingering ominously in the air. "This is not over. I will return, and Eldara will fall." Breathing heavily, Seraphine and Draven stood together, their bond stronger than ever. Alaric approached slowly, a newfound respect shining in his eyes. "I was wrong," Alaric admitted humbly. "Your bond is not Eldara's doom, it is its greatest hope." Seraphine nodded gently, exhaustion evident but hope renewed. "Together, we will prepare for Malakar's return. Eldara will not fall as long as we stand united." Their combined strength had won the battle, but the war for Eldara's future had only just begun. Chapter 8: Unity and Resolve. In the days following Malakar's retreat, the Sanctuary of Elders became a hive of activity and preparation. Former rivals worked together, the alliance forged by shared danger stronger than any lingering resentments. Witches and dragons, united by their desire to protect Eldara, trained together relentlessly, developing strategies and mastering their combined powers. Seraphine and Draven led tirelessly, their bond now serving as a beacon of hope and resilience for all who gathered at the sanctuary. Their love and unity became symbols of the strength found in acceptance and courage. Yet, beneath the shared determination, the shadow of Malakar's threat lingered ominously. Reports from scouts told of dark magic spreading rapidly across Eldara, corrupting wildlife and poisoning the land. Time was slipping away, they needed a decisive plan. One evening, Alaric, now an ally and trusted advisor, approached Seraphine and Draven with news. "Our scouts report that Malakar is rebuilding his strength," Alaric informed gravely. "His drawing power from a corrupted ancient artifact, hidden deep within the caverns beneath the ruins of Viridis." Draven's eyes narrowed. "The obsidian heart. Legends speak of its devastating power." Seraphine nodded thoughtfully. "If we destroy it, Malakar's power source will be cut off. He will be vulnerable." Alaric hesitated, concern evident in his voice. "It won't be easy. Malakar has fortified the caverns with dark enchantments and traps. Breaking through his defenses will be perilous." "We must take the risk," Seraphine stated firmly. "It's our only chance." Draven stood resolutely beside her. "We will lead a small, capable force. Alaric, prepare our strongest fighters. Eldamora, your knowledge of ancient enchantments will be invaluable." Preparations were swift and meticulous. As dawn broke, the chosen warriors assembled, determination etched onto every face. Seraphine addressed the gathered force, her voice strong and inspiring. "Today we fight not just for Eldara, but for the very essence of who we are. Together we will face this darkness and restore balance. Trust in your strength, trust in your allies, and most importantly, trust in the unity that binds us." Cheers of determination echoed through the valley as the warriors set forth, their path illuminated by dawn's golden light. The journey to the ruins of Viridis was swift but tense, the warriors vigilant for any sign of Malakar's dark minions. Upon arrival, they found the ruins shrouded in oppressive darkness. The air felt thick and heavy with corruption, making each breath a laborious effort. Draven stepped forward, his presence comforting and commanding as he extended his wings protectively around Seraphine. "Stay alert," he warned softly, sensing the presence of unseen watchers. As they descended into the caverns beneath the ruins, the darkness intensified, pulsing with malignant energy. Shadows whispered warnings and threats, testing their resolve. Eldamora guided them expertly, disarming traps and countering enchantments as they delved deeper. Finally, they reached the cavern's heart, where the obsidian heart rested upon a pedestal, radiating dark power. Malakar emerged from the shadows, his dark form towering, his voice dripping with malice. You dare challenge me again? Malakar hissed contemptuously. You cannot defeat destiny. We define our destiny, Seraphine retorted defiantly. Your darkness will not consume Eldara. With a furious roar, Malakar unleashed waves of dark energy, engaging Seraphine, Draven, and their allies in a brutal, desperate battle. Magic collided violently, shaking the cavern walls and threatening collapse. As the battle reached its peak, Seraphine seized an opening. Drawing upon every ounce of strength and love within their bond, she and Draven focused their combined magic upon the obsidian heart. Their energies surged together, pure and unstoppable. With a blinding explosion, the obsidian heart shattered, sending shockwaves rippling through the cavern. Malakar screamed in agony and fury as his power drained away, leaving him weakened and vulnerable. Defeated but defiant, Malakar retreated once more, vanishing into the shadows. The cavern fell silent, the oppressive darkness lifting slowly. Exhausted yet victorious, Seraphine and Draven embraced tightly, their unity stronger than ever. Eldara had been saved once more, but the final battle still loomed, a shadow yet to be fully dispelled. Chapter 9: The Final Reckoning. In the aftermath of their victory within the caverns of Vera, Seraphine and Draven knew their final confrontation with Malakar was inevitable. Despite their success in destroying the obsidian heart, the land of Eldara still bore the scars of his dark influence. The shadows he had unleashed clung to the forests, rivers, and mountains like a lingering curse. Back at the Sanctuary of Elders, preparations for the final battle intensified. Alliances strengthened, strategies refined, and hope blossomed, fueled by unity and resolve. But beneath their optimism simmered an unspoken fear: Malakar's ultimate return would be devastating. Late one night, as stars shimmered gently above, Seraphine found herself restless. Her heart heavy with anxiety and uncertainty, she wandered into the sanctuary's sacred gardens, finding solace among moonlit blossoms. Moments later, Draven joined her, sensing her unease through their bond. "What troubles you?" he asked gently, his voice soothing as he curled protectively around her. Seraphine leaned against his warmth, eyes fixed on the distant horizon. "I fear what is to come. We have gathered strength, yet Malakar's power seems endless." Draven's sapphire eyes met hers tenderly. "His power thrives on fear and despair. Our unity, our love, these are his true weaknesses. Trust in us, Seraphine." She nodded slowly, absorbing his words and the comfort of his presence. "I do. But Eldara's fate weighs heavily on me." Draven's voice was resolute, yet gentle. "We are not alone. Together, with our allies, we will reclaim Eldara." As dawn broke, casting golden hues across the sanctuary, scouts returned with grim news: Malakar had regrouped, amassing an army larger than ever before, dark creatures emerging from the corrupted depths of Eldara. The final battle loomed closer. Seraphine and Draven stood before their gathered forces, united in purpose. "Today, we fight for Eldara's heart and soul," Seraphine proclaimed. "We fight not out of fear, but from love and hope. Together, we will end this darkness once and for all." Cheers erupted, echoing courage and determination. Warriors, witches, and dragons stood shoulder to shoulder, their alliance unbreakable as they marched toward destiny. The battlefield stretched endlessly beneath a darkened sky, the air thick with tension. Malakar awaited them, a monstrous figure of shadow and hatred, his voice thunderous as he commanded his army forward. The clash was fierce, chaos reigning as magic collided violently, dragons soared, and warriors fought valiantly. Seraphine and Draven battled with unmatched harmony, their combined power and unstoppable force against the darkness. At the heart of the chaos, Malakar confronted them, his presence suffocating. "Your bond cannot defeat me," he bellowed, unleashing a torrent of shadow. "We have defied destiny before," Seraphine retorted fiercely. "We will do it again." Drawing on every ounce of their combined strength, Seraphine and Draven summoned their unity, channeling the pure essence of their love into a blazing storm of magic. Their energy, radiant and powerful, collided with Malakar's darkness in a cataclysmic explosion. Malakar's roar of defeat resonated across the battlefield as his form disintegrated, shadows scattering harmlessly into the wind. The Dark Army faltered and vanished, their source of power eradicated. Silence fell, broken only by the ragged breaths of exhausted warriors. Victory belonged to Eldara. As the sun pierced the darkness, Seraphine and Draven stood together, their bond stronger than ever, shining as a beacon of hope. Eldara had been reclaimed, its future brightened by unity and love. Yet, even in victory, Seraphine knew their journey was far from over. The work to heal Eldara had just begun, and the bonds forged in battle would guide them forward into a new dawn. Chapter 10: A New Dawn. In the days following Malakar's defeat, Eldara began the arduous process of healing. The Sanctuary of Elders became a symbol of rebirth, hope radiating outward as witches, dragons, and humans worked together to restore what had been lost. Seraphine and Draven stood at the heart of this revival, their bond an inspiring testament to unity and resilience. Under their guidance, lands scarred by corruption gradually regained their vibrancy. Forests once tainted by shadows flourished with renewed life, rivers flowed clear, and fields bloomed brightly beneath a revitalized sun. One tranquil evening, as stars glittered gently in the velvet sky, Seraphine and Draven stood overlooking the valley from a high cliff, observing the serene beauty of Eldara's restoration. The gentle breeze carried whispers of gratitude and peace. "I never imagined we could accomplish so much," Seraphine said softly, leaning against Draven's warm scales. "Together, our strength is boundless," Draven replied, his voice filled with quiet pride. "We've shown Eldara the true power of unity." Seraphine smiled warmly, her eyes shimmering with contentment. "Our bond was meant to defy fear, not succumb to it. We have proven that love is our greatest strength." Draven's sapphire eyes gazed lovingly into hers. "The path forward will still hold challenges." "Yet I feel no fear," Seraphine affirmed confidently, entwining her fingers gently around one of his massive claws. "Whatever comes next, we face it together." Their peaceful contemplation was interrupted by the gentle approach of Alaric and Eldamora, both wearing expressions of pride and satisfaction. "You have led Eldara into a new era," Alaric said warmly. "Forgive my earlier doubts. Your courage and unity have taught us all." Eldamora nodded approvingly. "The prophecy has been rewritten. You both have shown us a path beyond ancient fears and old hatreds. Eldara owes you both a great debt." "We did not achieve this alone," Seraphine responded humbly. "It was unity and trust among us all that prevailed." With a respectful nod, Alaric turned toward the valley, his voice filled with optimism. "Eldara has found a new purpose, guided by lessons learned and alliances forged in adversity. Together, we will ensure peace endures." The night deepened, stars twinkling gently above, their light reflecting the hope and promise of a new dawn for Eldara, a future illuminated by love, strengthened by unity, and guided by the legacy of a witch and a dragon whose forbidden bond had become their greatest strength. Epilogue: Legacy of Light. Generations passed, and Eldara thrived beneath the legacy left by Seraphine and Draven. Stories of their forbidden love and courageous unity were woven into the very fabric of Eldaran culture, inspiring hope, strength, and compassion among all who heard their tale. In the heart of the Sanctuary of Elders stood a magnificent statue carved from marble and obsidian, depicting a powerful dragon with a gentle witch by his side, eternally united in an embrace symbolic of the bond that saved Eldara. It was a monument visited frequently by pilgrims seeking courage, wisdom, and inspiration. One starlit evening, long after Seraphine and Draven had passed into legend, two young apprentices stood reverently before the monument. A girl with curious golden eyes, and a boy whose presence radiated quiet strength. "Do you think the legends are true?" The girl whispered softly, her gaze filled with wonder. The boy nodded, his voice steady and respectful. "Every legend holds truth. They showed us the way beyond fear and division." From the shadows emerged an elderly figure, cloaked and leaning on a staff carved with ancient runes. Eldamora's descendant smiled warmly at the pair, her voice gentle yet firm. "Their story reminds us that unity and love can overcome even the darkest of times. Their legacy lives within us all." The apprentices exchanged a knowing glance, determination filling their hearts. They departed together into the night, carrying with them the enduring strength and hope of those who had come before. Above them, the stars shone brilliantly, their eternal glow reflecting the boundless power of love and unity. Seraphine and Draven spirits lingered quietly within that timeless light, watching over Eldara, their legacy forever illuminated in the hearts and souls of all who called this land home.
Every story has an ending, but some mysteries live on. If you enjoyed this tale, don't let it fade into the shadows. Smash that like button and subscribe for more thrilling stories that will transport you beyond the veil of the ordinary. Subscribe to our channel and your name will appear at the beginning of our next video, where we will personally thank you for your subscribing. Tap the bell icon so you never miss a journey into the unknown. Share your thoughts in the comments. What twists did you see coming? And what secrets do you think still remain? Until next time, stay curious, stay brave, and let the next story begin.